In today's session, we'll be talking about the questions regarding this particular study group, where we cover seven tasks regarding creating a working environment. I'll just quickly go through uh, the understanding of what we are talking about in terms of creating the working environment, and then we'll see the questions. Okay, so when we say creating a working environment, we are actually talking about forming a team, bringing people together, thinking about virtual teams. Okay, building an agreement among the team members that yes, this is what we are going to do. These are the responsibilities of the team members and how we are going to work in the team, negotiating the agreements, defining the ground rules, right? All those tasks from examination content outline that we had seen during the discussion of this particular study group. And the third part is empowering the team, okay? Providing them the opportunities to take decisions and providing them the training which would help them improve their knowledge and skill sets. All right, this is what we are going to discuss, what we had discussed when we were discussing about the study group. Okay, now we will see questions on these topics. Okay, so there are 5 questions. With every question, I have some tips. I have some mindset tip that I have to discuss. So I'll share those also. Please take a note of all those because those are going to be helpful for your many other questions as well. Not just this question, but how those mindset and tips are applicable for many other questions that also we will discuss. All right. So here's the first question. Okay. Go through the question, put the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. All right. I can see 2 responses already on the chat box. We'll wait for others and then we'll discuss. Just waiting for 50% of the response so that I can start discussing. Okay, so let us discuss. I can see B, C, and D as options. All right. So the question is the executive management team. What is an executive management team? Basically, your CEO, COO, like top management level people, okay, can be termed as executive management team. They have asked the project manager to include 2 team members because of their expertise related to project's requirements. The project has not yet been authorized and the performing organization is awaiting a detail on compliance requirement from the customer. Okay, so what has happened? The project has not yet been authorized. This is a very important information available with us. We should be able to identify project related information in the question. Okay, there would be some technical information, there would be some extra information which we don't exactly need in the exam question. What we need is to understand the project management related information, which says that the project has not yet been authorized. Okay, and the performing organization. What is a performing organization? The organization that is performing the project, which is you, your organization, right, is awaiting a detail on compliance requirement from the customer, and that's why it is not yet authorized. The confirmation is expected to take a week's time. So this is the information given to you. Okay. The recent development in the PMP exam says that you will see 2 to 4 sentences in the exam, based on which there would be a last sentence which will be talking about question. Okay, 2 to 4 sentences talking about the scenario. Right, similar to this. So you must understand the scenario well And you must understand the last sentence of the question well. I have been repeating this and I'll keep repeating this till you get PMP certified. All right. That the last sentence is the most important part of the question. Okay. Don't be in the rush. What happens is I observe this, that people read the question and they very quickly jump to the option, very quickly read the last part. While what we should do is we should spend a little bit extra time in understanding what the last part of the question is. May be important, may not be important, but it is a very good practice. Okay. The question is, what should the project manager do? Not much is here, but there will be questions where you will see that the last part of the question changes the meaning. Okay. And we will see this in this session itself. All right. So what's the scenario? Scenario is that the executive management team has asked the project manager for 2 resources. The project is not yet authorized. The authorization will take a week's time. So what should you do? What should you do as a project manager? Think about it. Ask the executive management to raise a change request to incorporate their request in the project. Okay. See, change request is generally a good thing. But if the project is not yet authorized, why would you ask them to raise a change request? Okay, this is not a change as such. Okay, they're just asking you to include some 2 resources. Okay, project is not authorized. They are telling you that these 2 members have good expertise according to the project requirement. Why don't you incorporate them? So we can do that, right? So this as such is not required. So we can eliminate. The reason why we are eliminating this option is because the project is not yet authorized, which means we are at initiation stage. The project is getting initiated. It has not yet got initiated. So because it has not yet got initiated, I don't need a change request. In fact, even if I have not done the planning, I don't need a change request, right? If I'm only doing the planning, if I'm only doing the initiation, I don't need change request. I need change request once I have completed the plan, right? Hence, A can be eliminated. B, deny the request as the decision to hire team members should be taken by the project manager. See, the second part of the question. Sometimes what would happen in exam is you will see 2 parts of the question. Okay, there will be one part supported by some or the other extra information, not extra information, some or the other more information. Okay, both the information should be correct. Okay, for you to choose the correct answer. Deny the request as a decision to hire team members should be taken by the project manager. The decision to hire team members should be taken by the project manager. Yes, right. But should you deny the request? There has to be a reason, right? See, your executive management team is saying that they have expertise related to the project requirement. So include them. Your management is asking you to include them. Why would you deny the request? You can say that, okay, let me work on this. Let me figure out the analysis. And yes, we will do this. We will not do this is a different part. That you will work on it. You will analyze the information. You will check these resources, a different part altogether. Right? But denying the request is a very strong action. Okay, without analysis, you should not take strong actions, not this high level of decision. If the executive management team is telling me something, there must be a reason. I don't know whether I should deny it. Okay, hence you can eliminate this. Look at C. Accept the request as the resources can be pre-assigned during initiation stage. Are we at the initiation stage? Yes. Can the resources be pre-assigned? Yes. Right? There can be many resources which are pre-assigned to you. Think about your project, right? How much ever you want a particular set of team members, sometimes you are given the resources, right? And you have to manage the project with the given resources, right? That is why you are called a project manager, right? So sometimes you will have to manage the project with given resources also. Should you accept it? Maybe. Okay. Should you deny it? No, not at all. Should you accept it? Maybe. Okay, so I'll just park it because I am not sure whether this is 100% true or not. And before accepting the request, maybe I'll like to understand the resources. I may have a discussion with executive management and then see whether I have to accept or not. But looks like a decent option as of now. Ask the executive management team to wait for a week before suggesting resources. See, they can suggest the resources. Why should they wait for suggesting resources? Okay, the requirement of a week's time is on compliance requirement. Okay, it may or may not be related to the 2 team members that are being suggested. Okay, so for suggesting the resources, should we ask the executive management team to wait for a week? Not necessary. right? So even if they have suggested, we should start discussing. Why should I wait for 1 week's time? There's no reason why I should wait for 1 week time. What would happen in the 1 week time? Right? Hence, when you compare C to D, you will find that C is better than D. Hence, you would pick up C. Right? So what we have to do is we have to look at the options, understand whether you can reject the option or eliminate the option. Okay, if you can eliminate it, by all means, you should eliminate it. Right? But you should be absolutely sure that you can eliminate the option. You should have a reason for eliminating the option. If not, just park it and park all the options that you are confused with. Even if you are parking all the 4 options, it is fine. Okay, but then compare the option and see which one is better. Either standing alone, you should be able to eliminate the option, or through comparison, you will always find a better option. Okay, so elimination and comparison, if you use this technique, you will be able to solve it. Now, in explaining this, I may have taken 10 minutes, okay, but you will have to do all those things in just 1 minute. Okay, 70 seconds is the time available for you in the exam. With practice, you will definitely be able to do it. And I'm explaining a lot of things, hence I'm taking time. Okay, but you will be able to do elimination and comparison for all the question in 1 minute. There will be some easy questions. So there will be some very easy questions. There will be some medium level questions, and there will be some difficult level questions. Okay, difficult level questions might take some time. Easier questions will be solved easily, right? But if you practice eliminating and comparing, it will be a good practice to select the choices, because if you are looking for the correct answer, there can be n number of correct answers and you'll get confused. Okay, if you are looking for what should the project manager do, then you'll get confused. If you're looking for what should he or she definitely not do, it will be easier to understand, right? Hence we use elimination. Is it clear, everyone? Especially those who did not answer C. Is it clear why B or D is wrong? Just a quick confirmation, yeah? Okay. So we are introducing this new thing while we discuss the question and answer, some tips, okay? So that you see the tips right in front of your eyes, you will be able to remember for long. The question stem, okay, the scenario that is given. In the exam, we'll talk about initiation stage using many different words or phrases. Be sure to notice that and take decisions accordingly. Okay, if you are able to identify which process group they are talking about, okay, it will be easier for you to take decisions. If you know that, yes, this activity is initiation activity, this activity is planning activity, okay, it will be easier for you to take decisions. And they will not tell you exactly that this is initiation stage, you are working in planning stage. Sometimes they will, they're nice people, they will do it, but sometimes they will not, because they want to test you through different languages also, different terms also, right? So we should know what are those terms for initiation stage that they can use. With practice, you will see it. Anything that talks about starting the project, right? Not talking about planning, executing, or checking, just starting the project, understanding, initiating the project, right? Looking for overall scope so that it can be started. Those are a hint that they are talking about initiation stage. Authorization is one of the common word that they will use. That the project is not yet authorized, because what we do in initiation stage is authorize the project. Right? Which means initiation stage, you create a project charter, which is a license to start the project. Right? That is your tip. Let us have a look at the second question. Yes, Kirti, please go ahead.
Amit, while we were practicing the sessions, there was one question about, it was a similar question that customer is recommending to hire 2 of their members because of their experience. And there we discussed that it is the project manager who will approve or deny. It is solely his right, correct?
Right.
So how does the situation differ here?
See, if the customer is asking, then it could be a very different scenario altogether, right? I'm not sure whether the customer can also ask about having such few resources, right? So if the customer is asking, stakeholder is asking, then it will be a different scenario. If my management team themselves are asking, then it will be a different scenario, first thing. Second thing, every question will have different options. Okay, so just because the scenario is same does not mean that you will have all the answers same every time. Okay, a very simple explanation that I always use: if the question is what is 2 plus 2 closest to, okay, and it talks about 5, 6, 7, 8, then 5 is it what 2 plus 2 is closest to. But if it is talking about 6, 7, 8, and 9, although 6, 7, 8 were wrong, 6 was wrong earlier, this becomes better choice because of the options given. Okay, so it will always depend on the options that you are looking at. Okay, so how do you eliminate those options? There is no correct answer given on the scenario. Okay, scenario could be same, but because the options are different, so you will be always selecting a better choice. That is why it has changed there, right? So if it is saying that deny the request, then it is wrong. Okay, should I deny the request? What is the logic for denying the request? Okay, if it is asking for customer, I can say that, okay, give me some time and then I will do it. Project manager is definitely authorized to hire the resources, but there are some pre-assigned resources also which can be assigned to us during the initiation of the project. Okay, and in those cases we will have to use those resources also. Is that clear? Am I able to explain?
Yes, Amit.
Okay. Someone raised hands, I think. Abhishek, did you want to say something?
I raise a hand. I was wanted to ask about means if customer asks for this thing, then how we should react. I guess you have answered that already.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. So the reaction is simple, that we don't have to react, we have to respond. We have to understand the scenario. Okay, ask them why you are saying so. Why do you want this particular resource? Understand them, analyze that resources suggested by them, and then take them into your project. Okay, but what the last question tested you, or the last question was testing everybody, was whether we understand that there can be some pre-assigned resources also given to us by management. Okay, and in that case we will have to accept it. Okay, so we have to manage. See, there are a few things that management will give us. Although we create our budget, we create our own schedule. Okay, but there is always a limitation, right? Which the management will provide us. That, okay, you have to do the project in $1 million only. You have to finish the project in 12 months only. Okay, we can have a discussion, we can have negotiation and everything, but sometimes these limitations are those things within which we have to work. Okay, so that is what the previous question was testing. All right, so now let us move to the next one. All right, so we have multiple responses. Let us start discussing. One of the key stakeholders in an agile project has requested a change that needs special expertise that no one in the team currently has. Okay, so there's an expertise required which no one in the team currently has. The team has completed several iterations and they're working on the final release due in the next months. So these are the important information with respect to project management that they are saying. There's a final release that you're working on, which is due in the next 3 months. You need expertise, but there is no one who has the expertise. And the key stakeholders has asked or requested for a change. Okay, which of the following is the best course of action for the project manager? Let us see. Provide training to the existing team members. So the team members do not have the expertise. Okay. And this question is saying provide training to them. Why not? By all means, yes. Looks like a good option. But every time you find a good option, just park it, because there can be a better option also. Okay. It is very difficult to select a choice without reading B, C, and D options. Okay. So always have this habit, practice of just parking the option. Don't be highly biased toward that option. Just say, okay, this looks fine, but might be there could be a better option. Okay, so you have to always compare the options and see which one is better. The question will ask you to choose the best choice, right? So this is the first. Second, ask senior team members to train junior team members in the team. Okay, again, a good option, but there is an information that says no one in the team currently has the expertise. So senior members might not also have the expertise, right? So not a good choice. C, hire an external expert to guide the team for 3 months. Again, a good option, right? No one in the team currently has the expertise. So should I hire the external expert? Yes. Okay, so I'll just park it. Now I go to D. Reject the request as the requirement is not clear. See, it's not that the requirement is not clear. It is just that the team does not have expertise. We don't know whether the requirement is clear or not. Probably it is clear. That's why we understood that nobody has the expertise, right? So I cannot reject the request just because, based on this information, which is not true, right? We don't know whether the requirement is not clear. So I can eliminate this. Now I have A and C to compare. There are two things that I'm comparing. Provide training to the existing team members. Hire an external expert to guide the team for 3 months. Right? Now, the choice is whether we should provide the training to existing team members or should we hire an external expert to guide them for 3 months. How would you decide this? Okay, what kind of information would help us in deciding which one to be selected? Right? Now, let us have a look at it. They are talking about a special expertise that no one in the team currently has. Okay, if it is about a knowledge, if it is about something that the team does not know, okay, you can provide the training and provide that knowledge. Just the training might not help in the expertise, which is similar to just the training might not help in developing the skills. Okay, many a times I've seen these questions being asked and being discussed within the group that we have also, is that should we select training or should we select coaching? Should we select training or should we select mentoring? Okay, the idea is that if you have to develop some skill, if you have to develop some expertise, training alone might not help. Okay, you will have to work with them regularly so that they can become an expert, so that they can develop their skills. Okay, now, if you are only thinking about cost, that training the team members would have low cost than hiring an external expert, then probably that is wrong, because you don't know how much the trainers charge. Right? You don't know how much will you be paying the experts. Right? So I don't really know which cost is higher. So I cannot take a decision based on the cost. Right? Training is generally lower cost than hiring somebody, but we are hiring just an expert for 3 months. Maybe that could cost less, maybe training could cost less, I don't know. Right? First of all, even if you're taking just based on the cost, it might not be a good decision because the cost is not available with us. So what is the information that would help us resolve this draw between training and hiring the external expert is the need of the project. The need is of an expert. We need expertise. Okay, so when you need expertise, training will not help as much as an external expert who is guiding the team for remaining 3 months. Okay, this could be better. Hence, you would pick up C over A. Right? If it was about a certain knowledge, if it was about certain, like let's say, for example, they don't understand a particular framework or something, right? You can provide the training and help. But if it is because it is talking about expertise, hence we are selecting the external experts, right? Yeah, yes, please. People have raised hands. Go ahead. Malvika, yes.
Amit, let's say, for example, the question also talks about cost.
Yeah.
That, the project sponsor is not comfortable with increasing the cost for training. So then what do we do? Do we go ahead with training then, or we still hire an expert?
If it is about cost, then we need to know about the cost of training and external expert both. Okay, only then you will be able to take that decision. So if they're talking about the cost, then the option will also talk about some or the other cost, which will help you in understanding that yes, training is more costly or expert is more costly.
Okay.
Well, in that case, they would give you some more information which will help you in taking that decision.
Okay.
Yes, Kethi, go ahead, please.
Amit, two questions I have.
Yes, please.
One is that in some statements, like one of the key stakeholders is mentioned, or sometimes it just says the customer has said, or customer representative. So our decision for these cases will be same, right? Because the key
Yes,
stakeholder means
doesn't matter whether it is a key stakeholder, whether it is a lock stakeholder or any other stakeholder. It doesn't matter. See, these are just to little bit confuse ourselves, because it doesn't matter whether sponsor is asking us, stakeholder is asking us, executive management is asking us. What is happening is more important than who is asking it. Okay, ultimately we have to take a decision for the project, right? So if sponsor is saying that I will not provide money, then sponsor becomes important. Okay, if customer is saying that we don't have money, then customer becomes important. If executive management is saying that you have these resources, then that is important. Okay, but mainly or majorly you will see that who is saying that is not as important as what is being said. Okay, so what you're saying is absolutely correct, right? Sometimes it might matter, sometimes it might not, so we should not ignore it. What you're doing is you're focusing on it is absolutely correct. But just because a key stakeholder is asking, my decision will not change. My decision will always be for project's benefit. Okay.
Got it. And Amit, coming back to the question which Malvika was asking, the cost related, right? So even if cost of training members will be less comparatively, if it is less, right? Still, it is not leading to the expertise, right? So if that
Yes.
was the scenario, then still we should think of the expert
prefer
being.
the coaching itself, right? So in such scenario, what would happen is they might not talk about expertise, they only talk about cost, and they give you two options about cost in both the options as well, so that you can take a decision. Okay, it cannot be that they're talking about cost and they're talking about expertise both, and then asking you to take, because then you will not be able to take a decision, right? So they will always give you one resolution out of the draw that you will have in two options, always.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Let's move to the.
Hi, Amit.
Yes, please go ahead.
So, Amit, apart from cost, is there any other parameter based on which we can
To take decision?
yeah,
All the six
decision
constraints.
differs based on the
All the six constraints. You may not be required to think about all the six constraints in all the questions. Okay? But whenever we take a decision in project management, we think about all the six constraints. How much cost it will take, how much time it will take, what would be the impact on quality, what would be the impact on risk, what would be the impact on resources, how will the scope be impacted. Right? So we have to think about all the six constraints, because these are our limitations. Right? Whatever decision you take, is it adding the risk? Is it decreasing my quality? How is the scope impacted? Okay, what would be the resource requirement for this? How much time will it take? How much money it will take? Like, you have to always think about all those things. Good thing about exam is that within 1 minute we cannot think about all those things. So it will be given in the question. We should not think about only one thing. Is the hint that you should take from this question. That if somebody is thinking only about cost, then we are making a mistake. It is not only about cost, it's also about time. We only have 3 months. Will we be able to train the team members in 3 months to become an expert? Not sure. But if somebody is already an expert and guiding the team, maybe it will be a better decision. There's no guarantees here also that we'll be successful, but it's a better choice. And we always select a better choice in the project. There's no guarantee of any decision that it will definitely help. Okay, but it just makes it more close to the objective that we want from the project. Is it clear?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Let's move to the tip from this question. Right? Do not hesitate in hiring external consultants or experts if the project demands their presence. Okay, very important, right? You should always be critical about it. Okay, you should always ask yourself a question: is the external consultant or expert definitely required? Be critical about it, right? Because it is cost, because it is time, because it is many other things also involved, right? So you should be critical about it, but don't hesitate. Don't say that, okay, just because they are asking hiring external consultant, I should always say that it is a wrong option. It's not that. Always be a little bit critical about any decision that you are taking, but don't be overly critical to say that every time it will be wrong. Sometimes it might be right. Okay, it all depends on situation. It all depends on the framing of the sentence in the exam, everything, right? So be absolutely sure that the question justifies their requirement. Question said nobody has expertise. There is only 3 months, okay, and you have to complete the work. That is why the involvement of someone external was justified. Okay, so always look for justification whenever you are adding something extra. Talking to sponsor, talking to HR, talking to functional manager, hiring an expert, hiring some more machineries, asking for time, anything. You are asking for something extra. So whenever you are asking for something extra, okay, you should always be absolutely sure that this extra is justified. Otherwise, nobody will approve that, right? Our managers will not approve. In our day-to-day life, if you ask for an expert, will they approve? If it is not justified, they will not. Right? So you should also not take that decision if it is not justified. That's the tip number 2 for today. Let's move ahead. Question number 3. Again, go through the question and put the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. All right, so let us have a discussion. Those who are attempting, please keep trying, okay, and answer in the chat box. Midway through the second release in an agile project, the project manager was informed by a senior member working on critical activities that she will be leaving the organization in 1 month. So she is working on critical activity, she's a senior member, and she'll be leaving in 1 month. This will hamper the work being done by the agile team. Okay, so understand the situation. The situation is that a senior member who is working on critical activities will be leaving the organization in 1 month. And this will hamper the work being done by the agile team. That is a confirmation. Which of the following replacement profile should be preferred? So you will have to replace her. So which replacement profile will you prefer? Let us see. An expert developer with a good track record in development. Good choice. An expert tester with a good track record in testing. Again, a good choice. And there's nothing which would help us select A over B because we don't know whether this senior member was a developer or a tester or something else. Right? So just park it. I am not able to eliminate it immediately unless and until I see any other option. Okay, so if you are not sure, just park it. Okay, go to the next. A developer who can also do testing. Now, this is a good idea. Let us have a developer who can also do a little bit of testing, or who can also do testing, not just little bit, who can also do testing. It's a good idea. Is it better than an expert developer? Is it better than an expert tester? Probably. Right? Because one, we don't know whether this senior member was a developer or tester. Okay. And second thing, one thing we know, right, that I type of skill set is where people have expertise, depth of knowledge. There's a T type of people who have depth of knowledge and the width of knowledge also. So we should always prefer T type of people. In fact, it should be a mix of I and T, but if given a choice, you should prefer T type of people because they will be expert in one thing and they'll also be helping you in some other things, so that if a tester is absent, this developer can do testing also. Okay, so in this scenario, A, B, and C, C is better than A and B. Okay, so don't be afraid to park the choices. If you look at the option, you will see that you will be able to eliminate the other options. C looks good. But is it better than D? We will see. A team lead who can serve as a servant leader. Now, a project manager should be a servant leader. We should have emerging leaders in our team, right? We should develop leaders in our team. All those facts are correct, right? But given this scenario, okay, just because it was a senior member, just because she was a senior member, does not mean that we need to replace them with a team lead who can serve as a servant leader. I don't know at this point of time. All right. So all that they are saying is that the project manager was informed by a senior member working on critical activities, which means it's a part of a team. Right? In Agile, there are only 3 roles: team, project manager, or servant leader, or team lead, or facilitator, whatever you call them, okay, as a lead, and product owner. Okay, project manager is already discussed. So somebody is informing the project manager. They are not a product owner. So they're not project manager, they're not product owner. So they're a part of your team. Right? So looking for a servant leader might not be a good choice. What you want is people who can work on critical activities rather than lead the team. Okay, somebody is working on critical activity and they are leading. Hence, D can be eliminated. C is better. Clear, everyone? Any doubts? I can see almost everyone said C. So that's the idea. Always look for people who have expertise and who also can do few other things, right? So the tip is always prefer team members who can perform more than one task or one role for agile teams, so that they can learn from those experts in their presence, some other experts which will be there in the team, and fill in for those experts in their absence. Right? So you will have some experts in the team. Let us say this is a development expert. If you have somebody who can do development also and testing as well, right? They will learn about development from this person. There will be a testing expert. They will learn about testing from this person. Okay, and together the team will grow. If a tester is absent, this person can do testing. If a developer is absent, this person can do development. Right? So if you have all the team members with T type of skill sets, that is also better, right? Anybody can take up anybody's roles, and together they can help develop a good team. But the question now is, why should we ignore hiring experts? Or why should we not look for hiring experts for these roles? The experts are experts, right? They can do the work faster. They can do the work better. In such scenario, why are we saying that we should go for T type and not for I type as per the roles required? So hire developers, hire testers, hire integrators. Okay, why are you looking for people who can do both development and testing? Why? Anyone? What could be the reason? Why are we not going for experts and we are only going for all-rounders?
Because they can fill in the gaps when any other team members are absent.
Absolutely correct, right? But why would that need arise? Why would they need to fill in for people? Right? Let us say if I have 2 developers, 2 testers. If one of the developer is absent, one of the developer can take care of that, or tester is absent, tester can take care of that. We may have 3 developers and 3 testers also. Why do we say that let us have somebody who can do testing and development also? And why do we prefer more of such kind of people? Why would there be a need of filling in? One is that people will be absent, right? But not every time everybody would be absent, right? They might be absent in once a quarter, because you can always plan for that, right? Maybe once a month, but not always. So if they're going to be absent once a month, once a quarter, that itself, that is one of the reasons, definitely, but that itself cannot be the reason. What else can be a reason?
Amit, it brings kind of flexibility in the team, because when the tasks come, each team member takes what he's best at.
Absolutely. And
So
why do we need that flexibility? What is so special in Agile that we need that flexibility?
It's a time schedule
Okay, time is fixed. That is okay.
Change.
changing, change
Right?
environment. Yeah.
So what would happen is that why do we pick Agile projects? Because scope is not sure. We are anticipating a lot of changes. Okay, technologies will change a lot. So we don't know which person is the perfect fit. Okay, so if you start looking for a perfect fit, perfect developer, perfect tester, you may not find that, because you yourself don't know what kind of expertise you're looking at. See, it is very easy in theory to say, okay, I'm looking for a developer, I'm looking for a tester. Right? Somebody who has done development does not mean he fits into your project also. Right? There are so many programming languages, there are so many skill sets required, there are so many things happening in technology. Right? So you don't know who would that person be. You will not be able to hire that perfect person, because there is no perfect person available. You hire them, you work with them, and you make them perfect. Right? That's the idea. So everybody, I mean, all of you were correct. So the idea is that in Agile project, because there will be so many changes, if I start looking for an expert, I may not be able to find it, because I myself don't know the requirements. Right? Hence, what we do is we look for the closest related person, and we also look for people who can play two different roles, so that they can fill in. I don't know whether testing will be more in the project or development will be more in the project. So I don't know exactly what requirement is there. Hence, we prefer this. Okay, so hybrid is the trending term in project management. We have Agile plus traditional, we have developers plus testers. Okay, we have people who can lead, who can manage. So hybrid is the current trend in project management in the entire world also. A lot of things are customized, a lot of things are getting hybrid. Operations plus project, and many things are getting hybrid. Okay, so hence we need to be prepared for that. That is why we are looking for such skill sets. People who have multiple skill sets are better in any team, especially when we are looking for flexibility and change. Right? Great. So knowing why is also very important, so that you will be able to take decisions in other questions also. Even if the question is talking about anything, you know that T type of people are always better. Next question. Second last for the day. Please go ahead and answer the chat. All right, so we have received 50% response. Let us discuss. Even after multiple discussions among the team members to resolve a problem, they were unable to reach a consensus and are divided between two close options. The project manager called for a meeting to resolve the conflict. Despite discussing for 15 minutes more than the allotted time, the decision could not be taken. What would be the best course of action for the project manager to take? So this situation says that there is a conflict. Okay, they have had multiple discussions themselves. You have also been involved. and had a discussion for more time than allotted time. Right? So you have tried your collaboration technique. It has not worked. What will you do? Right? How will the decision be taken? What is the best course of action? Let us see. Ask the team to take a decision quickly as the time is long over. See, if they could do it, they would have done it. Right? So asking the team to take a decision does not make any difference. Right? They are already trying to take a decision. They have also done a meeting. Right? So asking the team to take a decision quickly as the time is over, it does not emphasize anything else. Right? Call the project sponsors and ask them to take a decision. Okay, so there's a draw between two team members, two group of team members. Okay, you are saying, okay, let me call somebody senior. When they come, definitely the team will take a decision. See, just because a sponsor will be present does not mean they will take a decision. And asking the sponsor to take a decision, sponsor might not even be aware of what the conflict is. It will just add up more time. Okay, maybe a sponsor could suggest some technique, but does not look like a good solution. Suggest the team to use Roman voting technique. Okay, Roman voting technique is one of the decision-making technique. Right? Where what you could do is, there are two options that you're talking about. You can ask all the team members to provide their support. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much do they support a particular option? Okay, you can very quickly ask them to show their hands. You can note down and you can take a decision. See, one of the other hint is two close options. Okay, so you can use this technique also. If there's a draw, you have done everything, collaboration and everything is done, you have to take a decision. So let us take a majority decision. Okay, let us do voting, not just Roman voting. Any decision-making technique could help, which could be done faster. Even if it is voting, one option, option 1 or option 2, whoever, whichever option gets the majority can be selected. Time is already lost. You have to do it quickly. You can do this. Looks like a good option. Okay, so I'll park it. Let's go to D. Help the team pick up another priority task. Just because there's a problem, should you ignore that problem and take up another priority task? Never do that. Okay, always try to resolve the problem unless and until the question says that this problem can be resolved later. If the question says that you are starting the project and the problem needs to be resolved at the end of the project, or it needs to be resolved 2 months later, 2 weeks later, then you can use this technique, which is also called withdrawing from the conflict. And only if the question very clearly justifies that it can be resolved later, which is not showing here. You have had multiple discussions, you have a meeting, which means you want to resolve the situation. Right? Hence, this is not a good choice. At this point, it can be a good choice. Okay, so don't eliminate just because it is saying pick up another thing. You can withdraw from conflict. It is also a conflict management technique, but for a specific scenario. And that scenario is that at this point of time, it does not need to be resolved. We can wait. We have some time. Then you can do that. Okay. C is better. Clear, everyone? Again, I think everybody answered correctly. So let us move to the next question. Last question of the day. All right. Okay. So midway through the execution of a construction project, the project manager observed that one of the team members' performance had decreased significantly, and the member was also participating less in the meetings. Okay. The project is at a critical stage, and the work must be completed on time. So what are the informations available? We are midway through the execution, and it is a construction project. project manager has observed that one of the team members' performance had decreased significantly. And the member was also participating less in the meeting. Their performance has gone down. They're also not participating. And there is one more information that the project must be completed on time. This is an additional information. All the projects should be completed on time. Okay. I don't see a critical stage in the project. Every time, whenever you're doing a project, you should complete it on time. When is that stage that we should not complete the project on time? Right? So these things you should be able to identify. Right? This is just an extra information. Okay, I should always complete my project on time. Doesn't change my decision. What should be the next best thing for the project manager to do? Let us see. Ask remaining team members to take up this member's workload for 15 days. Okay. Ask remaining team members to take up this member's workload. If it was only this, okay, still it was not a good choice. The reason is that why should the remaining team members take up this person's job? Why should you add up the other team members' job and their performance will also go down? Right. So this is not helping. The problem is with this member, solve it with that member. Don't add more problems to other team members. Okay, the first part. Second part, why only 15 days? Where has this 15 days come from? Okay, the reason I'm saying this, that you should be critical about it. Okay, some questions could be easy, like the last two questions. Some could be medium or difficult, like the first three questions. Okay, in difficult questions, these things will help you. All right, that when you look at 15 days, you should be critical about it. Why 15 days? Why not 16? Why not 17? And why not 30 days? Where has this 15 days come from suddenly? Right? So this should give you a hint. Just by looking at 15 days, you should not eliminate it, but you should be critical about it. That yes, this does not look a very good option. Discuss the developer's performance issues in the next monthly meeting. Should we do that? Should we discuss the performance issues? Yes. But in the next monthly meeting, no. Right? If there's a performance issue, discuss with them separately. Why do you want to discuss anybody's performance issue in a meeting? And that too in a monthly meeting. Monthly meeting is probably for the status. We don't know. Okay, but if it's for project status, why do you want to discuss performance issues? And that too in public. Discuss one-to-one. Okay, have a one-to-one discussion. Looks good. Have a one-to-one discussion with the team members to understand the reasons why they are not participating, why the performance has gone down. So you need to understand that. Looks like a good choice. Find a replacement quickly to support the project objectives. Okay, even if this said, find a replacement quickly to complete the project on time, which this option is saying the work must be completed on time. Okay, still finding a replacement is a big activity. Okay, you will need to spend time, you will need to spend money, and then when a replacement comes, your team goes back to the storming level, right? On Tuckman ladder, forming, storming, and then norming, and then performing. So team members are performing, you add one more team member, there will be a little bit of conflict, right? So it will take some time for the new team member to gel well with the existing team members. Okay, hence finding a replacement again should be justified, and then only you should do it. It will be a last resort for us. Sometimes we did hire expert in previous question. Sometimes we will, because the need of the project will be so. But if it is not, then we don't need to. Okay. At this present point of time, the question is not asking me to resolve this problem. Question is asking me, what is the next best thing to do? So next best is, first let us have a discussion. Let me understand the reasons. If the reason is that they will not perform in the future also because they have found a new job or anything, then maybe I need to find a replacement. Otherwise, right? Hence I can eliminate. In comparison from C to D, D can be eliminated. A and B was already eliminated. C is a better choice. Right? So last tip of the day, it's okay to look for replacement, but the need should be absolutely justified. Okay, look for justification. If you're adding any person, any machinery, anything extra, look for that justification in the question. Only then you should do that. Okay. Also, always check in the questions whether it is asking you to resolve the situation or asking you the next best step. Okay. They might say, what will you do next? What is the next thing to do? What will you do first? What should the project manager do first? Or they will say, how will you resolve it? What is the best thing to do? Right? Sometimes they're asking you for resolution. Sometimes they're asking you to check what is the next best thing to do. Right? So always, always, always. Okay, I'm repeating this. Read this last part of the question very carefully. A well understood problem is half solved. If you understand what they're asking, you will definitely be able to put the right choices. Okay, so with that, today's session is over. I hope it was helpful. Okay, we will move on to the next study group. I'll meet you on Wednesday when we'll talk about planning the project. Okay, so there will be multiple tasks that we are going to discuss. We will discuss about planning mindset in traditional and planning mindset in agile, and we'll discuss a little bit on the processes also. And then after that, on next Monday, we'll talk about and we'll solve some planning related questions, which will be from process domain. This was people domain. Okay, so sometimes it is easier. Process domain is sometimes difficult because you might not be involved in all the processes in your project. Right? So that the next week becomes very, very important. I'll share some more questions on this topic on the group and on the drive so that you can solve it. And then we'll meet on Wednesday to discuss about planning related questions. Okay. Was this helpful, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Amit.
It was very helpful, Amit.
Very, very helpful.
Favorite to Amit. It's not that probably. Did you see as answering almost all the questions? I didn't even realize that. Thanks, Abhishek, for highlighting that in the chat box. Yes. So it was helpful, right, everyone? If you have
Yes.
any doubts, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, Amit, I was saying.
Thank you. So if you have any doubts, you all have my number. You all have my contact details. Please let me know throughout the week whenever you want to discuss. You want to have a Zoom session. Let us have the session, discuss, clarify the doubts, so that when you take the exam, you take it with confidence. Okay. It is not only about taking the exam. You solve a lot of questions. You solve. You remember a few things. You will pass the exam. Okay. But ultimately, the outcome of PMP certification might not be achieved. Right? The outcome is that you manage the projects better. You get that promotion, you get that job change. Okay. So for all those things, if you need to discuss anything, you want to discuss these theory on how do you apply in your project, let me know. I'll be more than happy to discuss. Okay. All right then. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you on Wednesday with tasks on planning. We'll discuss traditional planning and agile planning both.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you, Amit.
Thanks, Amit.